Hello YouTube, Mike Kohanam here. Today I'm going to show you the deck that I've been using in the Extra Zero Festival. I think some of the other festivals that we've had in the past were a little more interesting than this festival, because in this festival you just can't use any cards in your extra deck. We already have a bunch of decks that players use that are competitive or semi-competitive that don't really rely on the extra deck, so those decks have sort of been clear winners for this festival. Two of those most popular decks are probably Floowandereeze and Eldritch, but I have a personal favorite deck of my own that does not rely on the extra deck. That deck is Toons, so I take every opportunity I can to justify playing a Toon deck. So I decided to use Toons in the Extra Zero Festival and incorporated the Adventure engine, which actually works pretty well with it. In this video, I'll show you the deck list that I've been using in the Extra Zero Festival. I'll explain some of the synergies between the Adventure engine and the Toon strategy, and I'll show a couple of replays from the Extra Zero Festival in which I won using those strategies. If you enjoy this video, I would really appreciate if you hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Here's the deck that I've been using with great success in the Extra Zero Festival. Obviously, there's no extra deck. Toon decks in general occasionally summon an extra deck monster, but more often than not, the majority of your duels are won without ever touching your extra deck, even in the advanced format. That made Toons a natural fit for the Extra Zero Festival. If you're interested in seeing a Toon deck without the restrictions of the Extra Zero Festival, I'll put a link to my Toon video down in the description, which further explains the Toon strategy in detail in case you want to play a Toon deck. Note that that video was made before the Adventure engine was introduced to Master Duel, so this is, in a sense, an updated version of that deck. I did remove, for the Extra Zero Festival, Max C and Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, which I would still play in the advanced format version of this deck. But for the Extra Zero Festival, Max C just didn't seem ideal with so many players using Floowandereeze and even Eldritch. And Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring really doesn't hit as many cards in the Extra Zero Festival as it does in the advanced format. And decks like Floowandereeze are able to chain block the effects that you really want to hit with your Ash Blossom. By removing the 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring and 3 copies of Max C, it was easy to make room for the Adventure engine, which includes 2 copies of Rite of Aramesir, 2 Water Enchantress of the Temple, 1 copy of Foolish Burial, 1 copy of Fateful Adventure, and the single copy of Dracoback, the Rideable Dragon. If you'd like to see an explanation about how the Adventure engine works, I'll include a link down below in the description to that as well. But generally, it is a combination of cards that lead into one another to help you summon Wandering Gryphon Rider alongside an Adventurer token equipped with Dracoback, the Rideable Dragon. With those on the field, you can use Dracoback to return an opponent's card to the hand if it's problematic for you, and more importantly, you can use the Wandering Gryphon Rider to negate one of your opponent's card effects that would otherwise threaten your field. This has a natural synergy with the Toon deck, which really exists to protect Toon Kingdom, because as long as Toon Kingdom's on the field with a Toon monster, your opponent won't be able to get through to your life points, except for damage in surplus of your attack position monsters' attack points. And your monsters will be able to attack directly, even if they have monsters on the field. So Toon Kingdom is the most crucial card to keep on the field as a Toon duelist, and if your opponent can't deal with it, you will generally win. One of the things that actually strengthened Toons in this festival is the fact that problematic cards that players use in their extra deck, like Nightmare Phoenix and more importantly Nightmare Unicorn, which could actually get through Toon Bookmark to get rid of your Toon Kingdom, are no longer a problem because they don't exist in the format. Because those extra deck monsters that threaten the kingdom are non-existent, I removed 3 copies of Solemn Strike from the main deck and just stuck with the 3 copies of Solemn Judgment that are more likely to be able to deal with main deck threats to the kingdom, like Cosmic Cyclone or Harpie's Feather Duster. The Adventure Engine is nice for a couple of other reasons in this deck as well. Toons can't attack the turn that they're summoned, with the exception of Toon Dark Magician Girl, which I don't play in this deck, and Toon Blackluster Soldier. So that can make it hard to defeat your opponent in one turn. Applying some pressure with monsters that can attack the turn they're summoned, like the Adventurer token summoned by Rite of Aramesir, or the Wandering Gryphon Rider itself, may enable you to beat your opponent in one turn more easily. And it's just nice having that mix of monsters that can attack the turn they're summoned but can attack directly, and monsters that can pose an immediate threat to your opponent. Secondly, the Rite of Aramesir's drawback really does not interfere with the Toon strategy. The only normal summoned monsters that you would want to use the effect of the turn they're normal summoned is the Blackstone of Legend. The Toon monsters are generally going to be special summoned to your field, so Rite of Aramesir won't stop you from using their effects. The way it typically plays out with this deck is that if you draw the Blackstone of Legend and Rite of Aramesir, you'll only be able to use one of them in that turn. If you have the ideal Toon opening where you can turn the Blackstone of Legend into Red Eye's Toon Dragon, back it up with Toon Kingdom, and perhaps back it up further by either special summoning a Toon monster from your hand with the Red Eyes' effect, or protection from Toon Terror, that's the opening that you're going to make. But when you don't have the Blackstone of Legend in your hand, but you do get Rite of Aramesir, you're able to use Rite of Aramesir to set up the protection of the Wandering Gryphon Rider, and then make subsequent plays. If you draw really poorly and don't even have access to Toon Kingdom, you could sometimes rely on the protection of Dracoback, the Rideable Dragon, on your Adventurer token, and Fateful Adventure, sort of keeping a stream going, to help you summon the Wandering Gryphon Rider and use Rite of Aramesir each turn. So while the Toon cards and the adventure cards work well in conjunction with one another, you can also rely on them independently when you're not able to get both engines going. Very quickly, I'll go through the Toon strategy. You want to get the Toon Kingdom on the field. Blackluster Soldier is probably your strongest Toon monster. Red Eye's Toon Dragon and Toon Dark Magician pretty much exist to help you get Blackluster Soldier onto the field. He can banish a card if Toon World's on the field, as well as attack directly. Once Toon World's on the field, it's hard for your opponent to really do anything, since they can't target your Toon monsters, and if they would be destroyed, you can protect them by banishing the top card from your deck. I included a copy of Toon Harpie Lady just because I anticipated spells and traps would be relevant in this Extra Zero Festival, and Toon Harpie Lady can actually destroy them with the effect that activates in the hand, so it actually has access or the ability to destroy cards like Skill Drain too, which is pretty cool. Solemn Judgment and Toon Terror are there to protect Toon Kingdom, with Toon Terror being searchable by the effect of Toon Dark Magician. Toon Page-Flip is able to quickly special summon a Toon monster from your deck. And Toon Bookmark works exactly like Toon Table of Contents, except you can only use one per turn, but it has the advantage of being able to protect a Toon World on your field if it would be destroyed by banishing the bookmark from your graveyard. It saves the page, so to speak. I've had way over a 50% win ratio with this deck, which is really cool because I'm playing a deck I like, Toons, a deck that's very fun to use and most people are not playing. And as always, the festival is a relatively casual event where you're really rewarded for wins, you're not downgraded for losses, you don't get punished, and you can collect a lot of gems just by playing and winning some duels. So with that, I will show you the deck in action by going through some of the replays. Since I hit Diamond 1 a few weeks ago, all of my opponents in the Extra Zero Festival are also Diamond 1 rank. So this is sort of your ideal hand because you have the Rite of Aramesir engine, but also the Toon engine. So I start off this game with Rite of Aramesir, And my opponent actually uses Solemn Judgment to stop it, paying half of his life points, because it really is that brutal to him. Had he not stopped it, I would have been able to summon the Adventurer token and the Wandering Gryphon Rider, which is not only an Omni Negate, but also able to deal 4,000 points of damage with their attack points. So I used the Terraforming to get Toon Kingdom, since that's the only card it can get, so I want to bait out the Ash Blossom if he has it. And I do the standard play of using my Toon Table of Contents to get Toon Bookmark before playing Toon Kingdom, so that the Bookmark is able to protect the Kingdom from destruction. I then use Page-Flip, which randomly summons the Toon Blackluster Soldier, and I chose to attack directly. Maybe I should have destroyed Uni-Zombie instead, but my opponent is really in a bit of a bind, because he just took 3,000 points of damage, and my Toons can attack directly. He uses Zombie World, which is basically irrelevant, because my monster's typing doesn't matter, and then uses Harpie's Feather Duster, which would destroy all of my spells and traps, but I'm able to use the Bookmark to protect the Kingdom. So with Kingdom up, he still can't target my Blackluster Soldier, and it still can't be destroyed, because I can banish cards from my deck to protect it. So he attacks with his Eldritch, the Golden Lord, but it's irrelevant because I protect my Blackluster Soldier. And on my next turn, I'm able to just attack directly with Blackluster Soldier to take out the rest of his life points. So in this game, I draw parts of the Adventure strategy, as well as the Blackstone of Legend, which can summon Toon Red Eyes. Since I can't use Rite of Aramesir the same turn I normal summon the Blackstone and use its effect, I choose to go with the Rite of Aramesir route, since I don't have Toon Kingdom to protect the Red Eyes. However, after using the Foolish Burial and adding Rite of Aramesir to my hand, my opponent uses Droll and Lockbird, which would prevent me from getting the Wandering Gryphon Rider, so I have to pivot to the Toon strategy and summon the Red Eyes Toon Dragon. My opponent does have Rite of Aramesir and is able to do his adventure plays unimpeded. So he uses Rite of Aramesir, summons the Adventurer token, plays Fateful Adventure, equips it with a Dracoback, summons Wandering Gryphon Rider after searching for it, and I use Torrential Tribute to force out the negation of the Wandering Gryphon Rider. And then on my next turn, I'm just going to need to deal with his field so he can't summon a Gryphon Rider again. He uses Dracoback to return the Red Eyes to my hand, which is annoying, and then summons the Golden Lord by using there can be only one, and sending it to the graveyard. And after some direct attacks, it's my turn. I draw Toon Table of Contents, which is, along with Toon Bookmark, at the heart of most successful Toon plays. I use Rite of Aramesir to summon the token, get Fateful Adventure, and then use the Fateful Adventure to add the Gryphon Rider to my hand and discard the Toon Red Eyes. With it and the stone in my graveyard, I can actually return the Blackstone of Legend to my hand. I just can't use its effect during that same turn I used the first effect. I use Dracoback to return the Golden Lord to his hand, and because of Goes in Match, I'm not able to summon any of their monsters. He uses the Golden Lord's effect to get rid of my Adventurer token and and then uses its second effect to summon the Golden Lord to his field. But when he would otherwise attack directly with it, I can use the Gryphon Rider's effect to special summon it from my hand to absorb the attack, so I don't lose the duel. He'll set an Elixir in the end phase, and then it's my turn, but now I'm set up a lot better than I thought I would be at this point in this duel, because I have the Blackstone Legend and Toon Kingdom, and then for my turn, I actually drew Toon Table of Contents, which I used to get Toon Bookmark. So I use the Bookmark to get the Page-Flip, so that I can't banish all copies of it when I play the Kingdom. Use the Kingdom, use the Page-Flip. Page-Flip summons the Blackluster Soldier, which I use to banish the Golden Lord. I then use Fateful Adventure to get the Water Enchantress, send it to the graveyard, use its effect by banishing it from there to get Rite of Aramesir to my hand, just to thin the deck. He uses the Elixir to summon the Golden Lord, And I'm saving my Toon Terror for any threat on the Toon Kingdom. So he actually uses Conquistador to try to destroy the kingdom, but I use my first of 2 bookmarks to protect it. I then use the Toon Blackluster Soldier to try to banish the Golden Lord again from his field. He uses Solemn Strike to actually negate the activation of the effect. But that cost him 1,500 life points, and since the activation was negated, my Toon Blackluster Soldier is still allowed to attack. And it's allowed to attack directly since Toon Kingdom's on the field. So once I was able to stick the Blackluster Soldier and the Kingdom on the field, I was able to win that duel, and the Adventurer engine helped me buy the time to do it. So my opponent gets Solemn Judgment to start, which could be problematic if it can stop my Toon Kingdom, but I actually happen to have a really good hand. So I use the Water Enchantress to try to get Rite of Aramesir, which forces out Ash Blossom. And then I have all these search cards in my hand, Toon Table, Toon Bookmark, and even Toon Page-Flip with special summons from the deck, that he otherwise could have ashed, but now can't because he used it on the Water Enchantress. So I use the Terraforming to get the Kingdom. He uses Solemn Judgment, and unfortunately for him, he's going to see me get another Toon Kingdom with the Toon Bookmark or the Toon Table of Contents. So I get it with the Toon Bookmark, activate it, and now I'm free to use Toon Page-Flip because I have Toon Kingdom on the field. Gets me Toon Blackluster Soldier, which immediately gets summoned. I use the Toon Table of Contents to search for Toon Terror to protect my field, and set the Toon Terror before ending my turn. Now a defense position monster won't help him because Toon Blackluster Soldier can attack directly with Toon Kingdom on the field. I actually use Toon Terror here on the Pot of Duality because on the last turn he had nothing. So I anticipate that negating Pot of Duality will cause him to have nothing again. And I was correct because on my next turn I'm able to just attack directly with Toon Blackluster Soldier and end the duel. In this duel, I also open with Rite of Aramesir as well as the Blackstone Legend, so I can't successfully use both their effects in the same turn. My opponent is actually playing a Sub-Terror deck, so we'll speed that up. After his setup, I use Rite of Aramesir, and my opponent actually negates it, but I special summon Wandering Gryphon Rider to get that on the field since I control no monsters. And now I'm free to use my Toon engine. So I use Toon Table to get the Toon Bookmark, since Toon Bookmark provides protection for the Toon Kingdom that it then searches for. I then normal summon the Blackstone Legend, use it to summon Red Eyes Toon Dragon. He flips there can only be one in chain to my Toon Dragon's effect. But all of my monsters are different types, so it doesn't matter that I can only have one of each. And then rather than using Toon Page-Flip and taking a gamble on what I would summon, I use the Toon Dark Magician's effect and special summon the Toon Blackluster Soldier. So I banish his face-down monster with the Toon Blackluster Soldier, and then just attack directly with Wandering Gryphon Rider. So he uses another Hidden City, summons the Fiendess, puts it face down, and then just concedes, because all of my Toons can attack directly on the next turn. So that's my Adventure Toon deck for the Extra Zero Festival. Toons in general just don't rely on the extra deck at all, so I don't think you're going to find a better opportunity to use Toons than there is in this festival and have them be as competitive as they can possibly be in an event. If you like Toons, if you enjoy summoning Toon monsters and attacking directly like I do, I think this is a great time to use the deck. Since Toon decks also special summon monsters constantly, using this deck will help you complete the missions that involve special summoning monsters for the Extra Zero Festival as well. So there is a benefit there too that can get you some gems. I hope you enjoyed this video on my Adventure Toon deck for the Extra Zero Festival. Thank you for watching.